the world's most popular live gay TV show. It's 8 p.m. Wednesday, March 4, 2020. We open our show tonight with happening now breaking news. We want to report some of the results from Super Tuesday. The big news is it is a Super Tuesday for Joe Biden. What a difference a week makes. Joe Biden has seemingly come out of nowhere, and we have seen most of the candidates in the last week, several announcements in the last 48 hours, including the result announcement of Mike Bloomberg suspending his campaign today. Super Tuesday results are having Joe Biden leading in delegate count now, won the most delegates on Super Tuesday, which was a complete shock, within 5% of winning California that a week ago was considered impossible. Joe Biden wins the state of Texas and beats Elizabeth Warren in her own state of Massachusetts. So, guys, what do y'all think? Super Tuesday results.
Super Tuesday. I mean, it was definitely super for Joe Biden, as you mentioned. It was a little disappointing to see that Elizabeth Warren's campaign kind of ran into a wall. And I think that it is a moment for us to also realize that democracy is alive and well. And, Joe Biden, he has the name recognition, he has the coalition, and that came out. And the idea that we can go all in with the young voter, I think that yesterday proved that we can.
Yeah, actually, one of the hosts from another show that we do, Q News Tonight, we were just talking to Aaron Dar. He showed us one of the bumper stickers that is going out for Biden going forward, and it's spelled BYE. Don. So it's like bye, Don. Like you're saying bye to Donald Trump as you're saying hello to
How do you
Biden.
feel about that?
Well, I want you to know that I saw all of it. I was having fun seeing Super Tuesday. Look, it doesn't matter if it's Sanders. It doesn't matter if it's Biden. The Trump campaign, those of us which are Republicans are ready to go march and do the work that has to be done. I think at the end of the day, we're going to have to see what happens, how it happens. I think Biden has a responsibility of choosing the right BIP. The right president is very important for him to choose. We also have to figure it out that still it's not over for Sanders. So people are saying, oh, it's over for it's not. The difference in delegates are less than 60. All right? And there's still states which are being, we have got to wait. Definitely, it's going to be looking good for Biden come March 17th when Florida has its election and primary. The most sad thing about it is to see that very, very fast, the inclusive party, the inclusive Democratic Party is definitely losing, and there is no more African-American candidates, no Hispanic candidates, no Asian candidates, no gay candidates, and the list keeps going. But this is an inclusive party. Don't ever forget.
Well, the Republican Party doesn't have a black candidate.
No, we don't. We just have a
Ku Klux Klan.
We have a member of the cabinet.
You have a Ku Klux Klan as a candidate.
Well,
you guys don't have a diverse.
I think we do. I think we do have a diverse environment, and I think it's very important.
Diverse as far as Nazis, white supremacists, and
don't say Nazi.
That's the range of the diversity that you guys have.
Final thoughts on Super Tuesday.
Well, let's go back a little bit from even before Super Tuesday, because I would like to bring up the fact that myself and Ron.
Wait, allow me to raise my tea.
Did you just call Ron the Ron?
The Ron. The Ron.
I think we all need
I'm
our
the Ron,
glasses for this
everybody.
one. Let's go in.
I need my tea.
Myself and Ron, we made a little bet.
Pass me some popcorn.
We made a little bet. Ron is he's the strategist, and on the panel, and he predicted that Pete Buttigieg was going to come in third,
right?
And I predicted that he was going to come in fourth, because as the black expert, I know my black people better than Ron does. So I knew that Pete was not going to do as well, and I was right and Ron was wrong, just like he is about Trump.
All right.
So
let's we did have a bet. We did have a bet. Here's your drink. There you go, America.
I'll swallow that.
You are going to pay up, right?
Of course.
You're going to pay up unlike the last log cabin Republicans.
No way. No way. We're growing.
But what a difference a week makes, right?
Yes,
I mean,
sure.
I mean, last week we were all but counting Biden out. And this was really something. This was, a Lazarus moment for him. He was basically raised from the dead.
He didn't spend money in most of the states. He
sure
didn't
didn't.
appear in most of the states that he won yesterday.
Is that because he's really uniting the party, or is that the fact that the party is in panic that Sanders could be the
It's
candidate?
because for 8 years his name was in the homes of every American across the country.
True.
Biden is recognizable. Whether they know anything about him, those small towns in middle America, they feel safe knowing that during the
Texas?
years,
Right.
during those years of Obama, whether we agree or disagree on the job that he did,
Right.
For those people who got to the polls yesterday, they believe in Biden.
I have to move on, but I want to put anything you'd like to add.
Oh, well, Biden didn't invest much into his campaign up to this point, but now he's got the backing of Buttigieg and he's got the backing of Bloomberg. It's kind of a Power Rangers trifecta. You put them all together and their final form is Hillary 2.0.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're back in the same conversation that we were in 2016, which is basically the people who are under that trifecta's, following, and then the people who are the more progressives, whether they're for Sanders or for Warren. But we're in the spot of establishment candidate versus progressive candidate. And it's like 2016 all over again, which makes me nervous.
If I can provide a couple of exclamation points on Super Tuesday. First, we're in a situation on Elizabeth Warren. We Report America, we changed our opening package that you're getting ready to see because spokesmen for Elizabeth Warren were going to be on the show tonight. They canceled this morning. They canceled events in the middle of the day. They canceled events in the morning. And just like our prediction on Mike Bloomberg on Monday, that he was going to pull out and suspend his campaign on Wednesday, we are telling you something's up at Elizabeth Warren's campaign. And likely, Elizabeth Warren is preparing to exit from the campaign. That is supposition, but we suspect that that's what we're getting ready to see. The other thing that we think is very important is Bloomberg's suspension. It has come quickly. I want to point out in just raw numbers, he spent $560 million. He has accrued yesterday and Super Tuesday 52 delegates. So the battling billionaires Mike Bloomberg spent per delegate to accrue one delegate. He spent to accrue it $10,769,230.77. That's what his hundreds and hundreds of millions bought him. However, let me show you something interesting that happened today. So he suspends his campaign, and of course, does Donald Trump take the bait? And he tweets about Mini Mike. And then it's a pretty salacious tweet. And then Mike Bloomberg does a simple reply basically saying, Donald, I can't wait to get ready to see you. And watch this in looking at this slide that we have of the tweet. We're going to show you this.
Your power's a weak, old man.
You can't win, Darth. If you
Good to
strike
see you,
hard,
old
you
man.
become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
See you soon, Donald. That's our news on Super Tuesday. So, America, we say good evening again. You are watching the world's most popular live gay TV show. So many of your stories we're getting ready to talk about. Next on It's Happening Out.
This week on It's Happening Out. Lady Gaga's new single. Bad Bunny pays tribute. International Women's Day.
I think every woman brings changes. We think differently than men.
Our new game, Saved by the Bell.
We're moving
Wait, we're going to move on.
It's all happening out tonight. Join us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter with your host, lifestyle expert NapoleonPlays, reality TV star Chef Josie, trans activist Aaron Phoenix, DJ Diva Power Infiniti, Republican political analyst Ronny Brenesky, and our moderator Al Ferguson. It all starts right now, live on It's Happening Out.
So thank you guys so much for watching. And since you are, please make sure to like and subscribe. Subscribe.
This is a live show, dude.
Subscribe. Make sure you
right.
subscribe. Okay, so you want to like and subscribe to the page, but also start a watch party. It's really easy to do that. We've got a video to help you out. Watch this.
When viewing our live show in your app, please click share. After clicking share, your screen should change and you can then click watch party. On the next screen, you can write text to your viewing audience and then click start watch party. You've done it. Enjoy your party.
And hosts of It's Happening Out stay at the Best Western off of I-95 and a commercial off of Powerline and I-95, where they treat us like royalties. Now, you guys make sure to check them out if you are ever and when you're ever in Fort Lauderdale. Believe me, you will enjoy the stay.
I'm curious. How does the
You're
Best
always
Western,
curious about something. What now?
How does the Best Western know who you are? Because I don't know who you are.
Well, they know me in and out of drag. They know the man behind the makeup.
The man behind the myth. All right.
He still thinks you're Kitty Meow, so don't worry about it.
I know.
Right. We are broadcasting tonight from our permanent set in the middle of the World AIDS Museum and Education Center here in the heart of Wilton Drive, Wilton Manors, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We affectionately say, and all you have to do is look around this table, we're the gayest place on planet Earth. We also thank our set, courtesy of Concepto Modern Living, right here in Fort Lauderdale. And because we're broadcasting from the World AIDS Museum, we thought tonight, because there's a live event going on in this museum as we speak, this is a living space. We invite the executive director of the World AIDS Museum to the table, and that is Raquel Lopes. Welcome, Raquel. We're lovely to have you with us here tonight.
Thank you for having me. This is an amazing
We
event.
are, as we said, if you hear any sound in the background, it is because the HRC is doing a live event here in the museum. We're happy to welcome them here into your house.
HRC Federal Club.
The Federal Club, exactly. We have Raquel here with us tonight because we wanted to take an opportunity. Happening Out Television Network, It's Happening Out, Q News Tonight, and Happening.Fun all embrace and support the World AIDS Museum that is located here in Wilton Manors and Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And this is a unique opportunity for us to support one of the major capital campaigns of the year, and that is the upcoming AIDS Walk here in Fort Lauderdale on March 21st. Happening Out, It's Happening Out will be participating. I'm going to be walking in the AIDS Walk with Raquel and the World AIDS Museum's gang team, typically the largest in the AIDS Walk, and I'm going to become a member of Team Happy Heinies.
You have the happiest Heiny, Al. All of Fort Lauderdale is there saying, hey, I want to make that man a bottle.
I can't wait. I have never done this before. I encourage all of you to come with me. And
I'll be there. Don't worry.
Explain to me what the Happy Heinies is all about.
So one of our board members, Dr. Ellie Shockett, who is a colorectal surgeon and doctor, started the team. He's a passionate gentleman who helped the museum do what it needs to do. And so since what he does, the coining the phrase "Happy Heinies" has been with the team since its inception several years ago. And so it is the Happy Honey teams that led by Dr. Ellie Shock.
Raquel, clearly you're not a gay man because
you should see some of the images that we were putting on the Happy Honey team. We were trying to make it inclusive.
We lost Napoleon. Napoleon's going, wait, that's
Happy honey.
anything of what
so
I was.
Join that.
Yeah, whatever gets them there. Don't worry.
It's a really good group, actually. Someone in my family uses him as
There's
a doctor.
a group of Happy Heinies?
There's a huge group of Happy Heinies, Al. It's
Absolutely.
every time I leave a Bottom's house. But
okay.
He really is a great doctor, too.
Who thinks that that's fake news? Raise your hand.
I want to get Facebook on this if we could.
All right. One of the things I want to bring to your attention is we're here at the World AIDS Museum, and Happening Out Television Network really embraces. This is a living, breathing museum for the whole world. It always shocked me when I first met Raquel. She indicated that one of her big challenges was the mere fact of why do we need a World AIDS Museum? Raquel, tell us a little of that story.
Part of it is that when I go around the state or around the country or the world, I always tell them that I'm working for the World AIDS Museum and Educational Center. And one of my times, I was at a conference of museums, and people will ask, well, why would you be a museum for HIV? And I said, well, it's because it's a pandemic that has affected the entire world and has killed off generations of people. And so it's not just me who's affected, it's all of us who are affected. Amen. And that the conversation continues to be had, whether we talk about the Holocaust, we talk about slavery, all of those conversations need to continue, and HIV is in that conversation. How do we continue to have it so that people are able to talk freely about it, be empowered with it if you are positive, but also equally be able to preserve the history?
Well, the World AIDS Museum needs no justification. It is our Holocaust. It's our community's Holocaust. And this is a living museum. We encourage you to come and visit Fort Lauderdale and Wilton Manors in South Florida. And when you do, come to the World AIDS Museum. And this is a perfect opportunity. We have a slide here that we're showing you. The AIDS Walk is March 21st. And this is especially important because we're also showing you a text to give slide. And in this text to give, it's an excellent opportunity because if you support the Happy Heinies, I never dreamed I would be doing this show and say, support the Happy Heinies. If you support the Happy Heinies,
put a smile on your face.
of the World AIDS Museum,
he's going to be dreaming
your
later.
donation is matched dollar for dollar.
Yes.
So it is a 2-for-1 if you contribute. We encourage you, regardless of what the amount is, support the mission of this living and breathing museum, the World AIDS Museum. We, Raquel, want to thank you very much for being with us tonight here at It's Happening Out, and we encourage everyone to support us. March 21st, as I and other It's Happening Out and Happening Out Television Network participants participate with the Happy Heinies.
Yep.
I can't get enough. Thank you, Raquel. All right. We also want to tell you at Happening Out Television Network, we do other shows, Q News Tonight, daily at 7 p.m. Literally, the show is out of the closet and into the headlines. Last week, we're thrilled. It broadcast in YouTube, and 103,000 of you watched the show in YouTube. We also do Happening.Fun Monday nights at 8 p.m. live every week. Last month, 93,000 people have watched it in Facebook. And Happening.Fun is entertainment and things to fun in South Florida. So we begin by talking about our meme of the week. And we're getting ready to show our meme of the week. I haven't seen it either. And it is...
You know, I've got to say, I understand now I was asked if I have a puppy hood, which I don't currently. It obviously wouldn't protect you from coronavirus, but if you're stuck at home with people, why not break out the dungeon and have some fun? You know, learn about yourself.
Hey, listen, okay, you already look gay enough tonight, okay? So
I can be fabulous
we're going
every
deep
night.
now, okay? We're going
fabulous
deep.
every night, and I can make it nice deep leather culture.
I can't help but want to turn and go, oh, what do you you think about the puppy mask there? Coronavirus solution for you?
Any excuse will do.
Let's continue on to our fun game called I'd Swallow That. You see the shots here in the middle of our host table. We play this game where we encourage you to play along with us at home. We're going to ask some questions. If you agree, you take the shot. If you don't, you don't take the shot. Everybody, of course, knows the rules. And let's take our first opportunity for I'd Swallow That.
You keep it.
And yeah, that's exactly right.
Corona implementation.
Are we ready to play? I'd Swallow That. Question number 1. I'd swallow that. I am a great host for party guests. Oh, my goodness.
Great host, just do it at your house.
The Prince of Darkness at the end of the table said no.
Oh, thanks. You're so sweet.
You don't think you'd be a great host?
Yeah, let's start with Aaron.
It's not would I be, it's the willingness.
Aaron,
your desire to be
believe that
social.
Every time anyone comes over, and I guess this is why I didn't get an invite, you have cookies made and dogs
You
running
say
around.
this as though I allow people to come over to my house.
I imagine it's an enchanted lair with all sorts of fun
Listen, you
things
got to
and
text
bright
me at least
colors.
3 days in advance before you show up at my door.
I have to tell you, too, I'd
Right,
swallow that. I
mentally
can
prepared.
totally see Ron, the Republican hack, doing lots of parties.
And we
He
do
knows
lots
how to
of
do
parties.
it,
We
right?
do extremely
I can
lot
see
of
that. Chef Josie, Top Chef from Bravo. I'm going to have a party that ultimately is going to get you in bed. I can see that. But
and play games.
And play games. Power, I can't see you being that great of a host at parties. I see the entertainment, but when it gets into your own house, it's like I can't be bothered. Is that not true?
Well, the question didn't ask if you're a great host for house parties. It said, am I a great host for party guests? And therefore, I actually get paid. To host parties. Right? Of everybody here, I'm the best host.
Oh, shut up. All right. Anybody else? Yeah.
Did you take a shot?
I did take the shot.
You think you're a great host?
First off, I did New Year's Eve with you
Yes.
and you and me, and you and I hosted the party. We did a progressive New Year's Eve party that included a boat. It included fireworks.
You did a great event. You were a very
Al's
great
not even
host.
a great host on this show.
Questions?
All right.
Okay.
Let's move right along. And Power, it's been great having you on. It's having me out. All right. Let's, if somebody would pass me a shot too, please.
You
And
sure?
let's
Okay, here
continue.
you go.
Cough a little on it.
Question number 2. I'd swallow that. I am excited for the new weekly live broadcast of LGBT religious services in South Florida.
Without question. I'm so excited about this. You can be anyone, anywhere in the world and actually be a part of a spiritual experience that accepts LGBTQ communities and people for who you are. That's something that has never existed in any capacity. So I'm only thinking of how many people, how many children this might impact, how many adults this might impact.
America, let us tell you what we're getting ready to do. This is really exciting. Happening Out Television Network has partnered in an embracement. We've done a very significant grant for the Sunshine Cathedral. Now, here in South Florida, we have the largest LGBTQ plus church in the world. Interestingly enough, just 6 miles from here is Coral Ridge Presbyterian Church. And if you haven't heard of them, in the 1990s especially, they, along with Liberty Baptist in Virginia, remember them, were the leading anti-LGBT voices in America. Dr. Kennedy, he's passed, but the church still exists. It's a mega church down here. Just south of us, in 6 miles in the other direction, is the largest LGBT church in the world. So as a result, Happening Out this week, Happening Out Television Network, on Sunday at 10:30 is going to begin live broadcast of the first LGBT worldwide church services from the Sunshine Cathedral. It's quite exciting. Before we move on, let us show you this. Well, we're very proud to present this and support the Sunshine Cathedral. It will broadcast its inaugural premiere broadcast this Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then on demand anytime you want, principally from YouTube, but you can also watch it in Facebook. One of the important things about this broadcast is polls and surveys in the LGBT community say of institutions, the number one most painful institution in the world against gay is church. Absolutely number one. Which is why I got to turn to Aaron, because you didn't take the shot, so you get to be that voice. Tell us why you
Y'all really want me sober tonight, apparently. I mean, I'm not trying to be the Grinch here. I'm glad for the people who it will benefit and who will get something out of it. I'm not personally excited. Because I'm not really personally excited by anything organized religion per se. But that being said, this is monumentous, and I think it's important to highlight that. When I was running what we called the Wall of Love back 2016, what started that was protesting or counter-protesting against these hate preachers, as we called them, who used to come out to Ybor and scream, God hates fags and different things like that at people. And we were basically there to be a block so that the gay community walking by didn't have to be subjected to it. So I may not be excited in the sense that I'm going to attend these services or I'm going to be part of the church movement or whatever. But when it comes down to it, we are family. And if they need some protection outside, somebody who's not really part of it, but I'm willing to keep, the bigots barbecued for you while y'all do your thing, I'm there for you.
It's very interesting because I have to tell you, Josie and Aaron Dar and Napoleon and I and the mayor of Fort Lauderdale, Dean Trentellis, are going to help in a live introduction. I told you we were live, America. Live introduction of this church service on Sunday. And the number one message, this is a mega church in LGBT. I think 16,000 people walk through this campus a week at Sunshine Cathedral. I really want to make sure that Aaron has the opportunity to meet Jarrell and Robert and Ann, the pastors there, because this is unlike any church I had ever seen before. Yeah. And it's really quite exciting. And so that's why I take the shot. Let's continue on in I'd Swallow That to question number 3. Woo! We need another shot here.
Slow-mo.
And in question number 3, I likely think we're finally going to get Aaron to take a shot. As we say, I'd swallow that. Question 3, I would survive the first month of a zombie apocalypse. Oh no!
Without question.
And the second and third month too.
Yeah. And the fourth and fifth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No religion and zombie death also.
I guess we'll find out the real answer in 8 months from now. So let's see who's telling the truth.
Don't say that about Biden. I'm sure that you're the Democrat will have a candidate that will inspire somebody. Please, don't go there.
Oh, we have 8 months of this.
I think he's talking about the coronavirus.
That's what he's talking about.
It mutates into
I'm
the
curious.
zombie
Somebody
virus.
tell me why you would, in 1 or 2 sentences, why would you survive the zombie apocalypse?
I've got more guns than God.
Of course you do.
Because only the paranoid survive. What did you say? I'm great at it. I'm always on edge and anxious and overwhelmed. I would be perfect.
Yeah.
I think everything is trouble.
That's always
you come
good
near me.
pricing.
Oh, I promise you, only the paranoid survive.
Again,
crisis.
I have to add, in picking on Power Evening, apparently that's the theme, I've watched every horror movie in the world, and the black guy is always the first one to die.
Well, that's why I always say I'm white woman cunt.
Speaking of that,
Trust me, I'm a survivor.
speaking of that, Josie, how would you survive the transition?
Yeah. Well, first off, I'd have to just simply lose some weight, and I don't mean me. I mean the people who couldn't keep up. And
Marcy.
Don't worry, we've already had this conversation. I watch a lot of zombie films, and trust me, I know every method of eliminating them.
God,
okay,
so.
Yeah, I would have Josie there. If we had to form factions here, I would have that.
Right.
And the person that knows how to grow plants really well.
I have to come back to you. Why would you die?
Listen, okay, first of all, I'm self-aware, all right? I realize, what where and what I'm about. I'm like 93 pounds soaking wet. Let's start with that. I'm a vegetarian, so what am I going to eat in the apocalypse? Like I'm not hunting and eating my own my own flesh. I'm not doing it. And then on top of that, like I have PTSD. I'm going to be freaking out like right from the beginning. That's just like, look, I can survive. Listen, I can survive anything that living people could possibly put me through, but I am not fucking with no raised from the dead. Get out of here.
You are completely clear. I believe you. You're dead.
I'm shacking up with a
You're
Republican
dead.
who's got lots of guns and lots of ammunition, and we're ready to go.
Wait a minute. Did you just say you're having sex with Ron Brenesky? Okay.
Oh my God,
All
that
right.
was the secret all along.
All right, all right.
Oh
Let's move on to question number 4 of I'd Swallow That. We need another shot here.
Thought this was a
Question number 4, and honesty and truth is paramount. Question number 4. I'd swallow that.
Okay.
I have read a book, printed or ebook, in the last month.
Oh.
I really thought you were going to stop. I have read a book.
What, really?
What simplicity
Wow.
is this?
Oh dear, are we going to stereotype? All right. What books have we read?
Stereotype. Why would that be stereotype?
The One Thing.
I actually finished reading the
You know-
Quran.
Do you know what that
No.
book is?
No.
So it's a really great book. You guys should check it out. It's called The One Thing, and it's going to help you focus and get very clear on the one thing that regardless of what's going on in your life, regardless of your challenges, regardless, I'm really into this personal growth and self-development, but it helps you focus on the one thing that could drive you your why if you don't already know it.
Cool.
And you said what?
I just finished reading the Quran. And I read the Quran not as a religious book, but a historical book. I hear a lot of people talk about the Muslims and what they believe in. Well, you know what? Let's find out. Let me read it. Don't tell me about it. Let me read it. I found the Quran to be very, very interesting. I found some of the teachings do not match with some of the practices. But that happens in every religion, and I agree with you on that. But it was quite eye-opening for me, which I've read the Bible, and of course I've read my holy book, La Torah. But when it comes to the Quran, I didn't expect to learn. And I actually did learn a lot. Some of the things just said, oh, wow, I got scared of it, But I think before people judge any religion, let it be whatever it is, read about them.
I'm fascinated because I haven't read, and that's what's fascinating me. I'm thinking, wait, what would that be like? Did you find the read hard?
No. It is very difficult if you're not accustomed to religious books, But I read it, and there's the way you can read it trying to find the God or the powerful one. But I read it in a historical perspective.
Ron, I keep coming back to the same question. I know Power has asked this too. You are a Republican political strategist reading, you're gay, you're supportive of the trans community, and you're reading the Quran.
Yes.
There's something wrong.
No, there's nothing wrong. I think that what it's important is to be educated and prepared.
Yeah.
I am not about to open my mouth.
Ignorance is death.
Ignorance is death. I'm not about to open my mouth and say something about a community or an organization. Once I say something bad about them, I better damn have the back.
I agree with
Do us a favor, tell your
Al.
friends.
I agree with Al. If it wasn't for the fact that you support Trump, you'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, darling.
And tell us
Thank
really
you, Doc.
quickly, you're the only one that didn't take the shot.
Because I was
How come?
I was unclear about the question if it meant if you're still reading a book or if you have read a book. So I wasn't clear. If
Really, you sliced the hair of
I
this
did.
game.
Just
That
take the shot,
finally,
Howard.
okay.
if we're reading a book, then I can take the shot
Okay.
because I'm still reading the Bible
Okay.
and a book called The Desire of Ages.
Right. Okay. All right. Very good. Let us move out of our game and move into celebrity hot topics. And a couple that we want to talk about tonight is first the Gaga. Lady Gaga is back in music. She dropped a new single this week, and the Power Rangers and fans of the Power Rangers went wild. First off, before we talk about it, watch this. Oh, okay. Well, I'm
was
told that
fabulous.
we're showing some imaging of it, and of course that's true because we would be pulled off the air if we played any of the music from the video.
And look at her in true Gaga style.
I know. I'm assuming everybody has seen it. This is a fresh vision of Gaga post Academy Award. post the Monster series, etc. What do y'all think?
I think that she's representing in her true Lady Gaga style. With her electro fabulous jams, and all I can say is remix. So power. Let's get down.
First of all, look for Lady Gaga effects all over every drag stage. Every drag queen will be wearing this
like
outfit.
9 looks in it, and we're going to see all.
We
of
are.
them.
That was all the queens on every
yes.
social media network.
But I one time I actually got into a fight on social media because I said that I actually celebrate the art, not the artist. So even though I love Lady Gaga and her and I could be good friends, I judge everything she puts out by the art and the merit of the art itself, not just because it's Lady Gaga.
Now, I have to tell you, I'm surprised that you would say that in her presence because, ladies and gentlemen, given this jacket, welcome to It's Happening Out, Lady Gaga. We're really happy.
It's funny. I could be just, misplaced for her. I did, as I have said, go to school with her when I was in NYU. I want to drop that knowledge since that's been said before. But what's interesting to me, we're going to get into the artistic talk again, since I can see Aaron, pulling back into the reasons that he was not going to host me before.
I was never going to host.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm determined to get that golden ticket invite.
If you ever got that idea, you got catfish.
Wow. Well, quite this harsh hostility coming out immediately. Regarding
that wasn't hostile because most of us at the table feel the exact same way.
Right, just because I'm trans, I got to be hostile now.
Okay, so I'm the most hated here. Typical Jew, most hated person here. But as far as Lady Gaga goes here, I agree with you, Josie. I like to see what she's going to do next because she really is an artist, and that's a little bit of what you were saying as well. She pushes herself constantly, and what's been so exciting for me to see is watching her go from kind of nonsense, just dance, all the songs that were out before, to paparazzi. Watch her grow, start to sing at bigger events, and win big awards as she shows people I can take on tributes that are actually brilliant. I'm a really good singer and writer. A star is born. She's showing that she's an actual artist, and I can't wait to see what's next.
But so I'm assuming everybody saw the video and heard the song.
To be honest, I thought it was better in mute. I loved the video in mute.
I really was not impressed by the song. Lady Gaga has come to the point now where we so love her and so celebrate her that even though I really am not really turned on by the song, I will let it pass. Like I will play it because I know the children will love it. But personally, it's not one of my
with you. You know what's going to happen? This is going to be a huge hit, but not her mix. Somebody like you and
that's what I said.
Others
Remix.
are going to get a hold of it and then make it fantastic.
Yeah, it needs to be a deep tribal.
Well, I think there's going to be like 10 different remixes of this.
Well, you're a DJ now too.
Oh
right?
yeah. Don't worry.
You're outing her. You shouldn't be doing. One of the things that I think is interesting on Lady Gaga, there's lots of comment about this. This actually harms her career.
Oh, come on. No, it cannot.
I think it does because when she wins Best Actress for Star is Born, there's a lot of people that make the connection to Bette Midler. Bette Midler was a music diva who had many, many great songs, different genre than Lady Gaga for sure. But she moved into movies and had lots and lots of success in it.
Yeah, but she's not Lady Gaga. She has the choice to choose this path the way she wants to create it. She is an artist. And, she doesn't have to prove it to anyone anymore that she has the chops. She can do whatever makes her happy. And that's important, too.
I agree with that. But I don't think the decision makers that it's like the rejection of women in Hollywood. It's constantly discussed. You won't stand up for me, create the roles that should be created, et cetera, and so on. And she marginalizes herself because people will watch this video and it will be the last thing that they remember, not Star is Born. And I think it'll have effect on her next role choice.
You know what, though? I think good for her in that vein because what I loved about the video and what I took away from it was the gender fluidity of it all. Mm-hmm. It was a little bit like Pulp Fiction, a little bit Fifth Element, not Pulp Fiction. Fifth Element is what I was going for. But it drew into something that was, like you said, the inner artist, that was beyond just the song, beyond just the saccharin, the artificial sugar of the music itself. Mm-hmm. And good for her. If it does marginalize her, I think, we all sitting at this table marginalize ourselves by being ourselves. So good for her for being herself, regardless of what would go well in rating.
I think we would all agree, bottom line, we love that Lady Gaga's back. It's been a long time in music, and we love it that she's back. We move into topic number 2 in Celebrity Hot Topics this evening. A terrible story going on in San Juan, Puerto Rico, as Alexa, a trans woman, was recently murdered and killed. Bad Bunny pays tribute to Alexa, and as a trans woman recently killed in Puerto Rico, and we're showing you a bit of that and what happened there. What do y'all think about this issue? Sad.
It's extremely sad, and I think it's about time that we as a community begin to protest loud and extremely loud about protecting the trans community. It's now Puerto Rico, however, very few people know that in Latin America, Honduras leads the way of more murders towards the trans community. The fact that any human being loses its life, their life, his or her life, due to their sexual orientation or their choices or gender, to me it's extremely gross and extremely unacceptable, especially now in 2020. I pray for her. I pray for her family. But most important, I want the whole community to stand up and protect and scream for the trans community.
Why aren't we doing it? Why do we
Because
need
we're
Ron?
I'll tell you why. Because human beings as a species has a tendency to only really care about things when it affects them.
That's correct.
And if it was another Matthew Shepard, if it was a gay man that got gay bashed, or gay men getting gay bashed that we were reading about in the papers almost daily, there would be a big uproar, a big rise. But because it's trans, even though we consider trans to be part of our community and we say, oh, that's a shame, it doesn't hit us as a gay community as much as it would if it was gay men being
To your
killed.
point, does it surprise you that the number one thing that I hear about the letters of our alphabet, the criticism of our alphabet, we're gay, no we're not, we're LGBTQ plus. I've gotten into routine of saying that, but that there's a general reaction of rejection of the T in LGBTQ.
Absolutely. I mean, even anecdotally, yesterday I was reading from someone that might be a friend, and they were describing how the LGB needs to stay as far away from the T as possible. And then, they used those exact words and then gave examples. And it's odd because this is a person who I at least did respect, whose opinion I would go to see and gauge off my own thoughts. But it makes me question now how he's getting to that observation, and then what other thoughts he's had like that I've listened to.
Well,
But a lot of the trans individuals and a lot of the trans girls have also said that same thing. They also feel that the T should have nothing to do with the LGBTQIA and whatever else other letters we have, because their argument is that it is about their identity, not their sexuality, and it has no place in.
Well, I'll give you another T word. It's called tolerance, right? We continue to have a conversation between acceptance and the distinction of acceptance and tolerance. We're like tolerating each other at the moment, and we're fighting for acceptance, right? That's what we're doing. And it starts with us as a source of it in our own community. If we're unwilling to accept other members of our community, whatever that looks like, we're still referring to like a man in a skirt, when you're still contextualizing another human being as, you're not even accepting them for how they identify. You're removing their dignity that way.
Absolutely.
And we're now saying, you know what, trans, I don't even accept that. I don't even tolerate it. I don't even receive it. I'm not going to allow it. You're a man in a skirt. So then it becomes okay,
Aaron, before I move on, any thoughts that you have?
Yeah, of course, many. It's a huge conversation as far as does the T belong with LGB, and it's not just about is it sexuality or gender. It's about kind of the ripple effects that we've seen over the last 50 plus years of the transgender community being thrown under the bus, and not always by gay people. Sometimes it's by the straight community in general. But the trans community, unfortunately, has gotten to a point where we do at times suffer by being grouped in, if you will, with the gay community. And that pains me to say, because in this conversation, we forget that there's overlap. There are a lot of trans people who also happen to be queer, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and those two things do not exist separately from one another. So to say that, well, the T doesn't belong here and the LGB doesn't belong here, well, then where do I belong if I'm each? So that's one part of it. The bigger conversation, though, I think, is the fact that we are still in our society upholding systems that oppress trans people, particularly trans women. And this woman, Alexa Ruiz, was homeless, was very possibly, suffering some kind of mental health struggles.
I understand.
These
Just
are
using a restroom at a fast food restaurant.
And we have sensationalized that, specifically the use of restrooms. So we keep putting trans people and trans women in these positions where they end up homeless, where they can't get jobs, they can't, kind of move forward in the world, and leaving them, to their own devices. And then when they are homeless, when they are doing survival sex work, when they are addicted, when they are incarcerated, we forget about them. And we end up basically feeding our trans sisters to the wolves.
That's true.
If we have to move out, but a very interesting celebrity hot topic tonight. But I want to make two quick observations. One of which is I do Q News tonight every night at 7 p.m. First live daily gay evening news show in the world. If I can tell you one thing that I know better today than I knew before we launched on January 6th, is if you think our community has arrived, you are sadly mistaken. Sadly. And the number one implementation of that, of attack in our community, in the stories that we report at Q News tonight, is about trans. Yeah. Not only attacks, not only murder,
taking
but
away their rights to compete,
taking away rights
taking away that.
In state houses, in county commissions, in school boards. The trans community is in full-on attack in the United States in 2020, in the military, from the White House. You can make whatever argument you want about what the White House thinks about gay. Let's set all of that aside. We know for sure that there is an issue on trans.
Absolutely.
And it's something we report on at Q News tonight all the time. That is a call to action to all of those that say LGBTQ plus doesn't include the T. And one other observation to our alphabet. If we do not stand up for the trans community, the rest of the gay community is really harming itself. Because I believe firmly, Maya Angelou has written so much on this, talking about oppression in general, but it applies to our community. Her standard is the strength of any community, especially a minority rights community, is only justified by how we act on the weakest of our community. The trans community is our smallest. We've had this conversation. I spoke very inappropriately of percentage in the community. What I meant to say is they're the weakest in terms of power and influence in our community, which is the reason why the rest of the LGBTQ plus should stand up unconditionally, and we are not doing it.
Thank you for that.
And it is a shame on the gay community.
I want to say one final thing very quickly, and I'll wrap this up. Stand up means something. Stand up doesn't just mean say, oh, what a shame. Stand up is reflected in the way that you talk about people, the way that you educate people, and in the way that you vote. And you can, your tears and your prayers, thank you, appreciated, but not helpful. We have got to pay attention at the polls to what we're doing and what pawns we're putting into place and building blocks we're putting into place to set trans people up to fail or not. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Okay. Well, a very interesting celebrity hot topic this week. Let's move into something a little lighter now, and that is a segment that we call Best Thing of the Week.
Can I drink my shots now?
And you now can drink your shots. Yes, absolutely. Meaning that our game in terms of our shots are really just totally irrelevant because we'll take the shots one way or another.
Like, whose line is it anyway?
Exactly. All right. So let's play or participate in Best Thing of the Week. And of course, our bizarre production department and all of our bizarre production Participants: Jared Curry, David Hopkins, Christopher Swarner, Steve Smith.
They're all being outed.
Are you just
right
trying
now.
to not say that phrase that is there specifically for you to read?
No, I love it. We're getting ready. We're getting ready to play it. I haven't seen it yet. I can't wait. This is a video that our production particularly loved called I Tried to Bottom Today. Watch this.
So, here's the deal. I think most of you by now have picked up on my context clues that I mostly am a top. But I've been traveling for work for 3 weeks and starting to feel a little pent up. And when I woke up this morning, something just hit different, or rather, I wanted to be hit different. So I made a bold and daring move, and after eating an omelet with a lot of cheese for brunch, decided that I wanted to bottom. So I found someone who committed like a responsible adult to coming over later, and I spent a ton of time in here, and then I was also considerate and lit a candle, and then I was also considerate and made my fucking bed, which I never do. And then I laid out a towel, which I never do because I'm not a very considerate person. And all of a sudden, I don't know, wanting to bottom makes me nice. And then he fucking canceled! I swear to God, I'm going to run for public office and I'm going to make this shit illegal. I'm going to criminalize it. I've never once canceled on someone, and I'm very proud of that. Even Zach, you hear me, Zach? Even Zach, I've never canceled on Zach. Okay? I'm going to criminalize this shit. And you bet your ass that I revenge ate some tacos like a good pseudo bottom.
Wow!
Words.
Oh my goodness!
Was that on YouTube?
Well, let's turn to our resident expert of gay culture. Go ahead.
I can see a lot. Yeah, you're turning to me because he's the one that uses videos and expresses and uses stories, which I do.
That's
online.
not why I turned to you.
You were just scared to say the words I tried to bottom today. You're so scared of it. You're so scared of the fact that you want to bottom.
Don't deflect. What did you think?
We'll get to that later. First of all, I agree with you. He was cute.
This is only a 4-hour show.
Right.
Okay.
I think he was cute as well. What's interesting about him, though, is that he was building to the story. He was telling what was going on. I wonder how often he actually does bottom. I wonder what his other videos are like, and I wonder what his value videos normally are. Like, what is he actually talking about half the time?
I know, that's what Power's thinking right now.
No,
what are you actually talking about, Napoleon?
Well, I mean, let's get to the root issue of his
Finally,
video, which is, that bottoms go through all this trouble.
They work.
And they go through all this trouble, and then it's so rude to be canceled on, especially when you go through the trouble of the douching and the this and the champagne douche, like us kind of girls do. And all, and then if it don't come over, it's not cutesy or whatever.
It's like getting all dressed up.
I've never heard that before in my life.
So interesting.
Days of our lives.
Oh my God.
And you take it one step farther, because there is this general stereotype, allow me to tee it up, that bottoms have it easy. The person doing all the work is the tops. And he starts right from the beginning. There's preparation and it's hard work from start to finish. Is it true? Tops do all the work.
No.
No.
I don't think so. I really don't.
Can we give any more detail than no? Is that possible?
In a good sexual scene, everyone is participating
Correct.
as much as they possibly can because they want more and they're having fun.
Hashtag
so they
can't
want
And I
to
think
make
it's
more.
different for men and women, guys, because, personally, in my opinion, I think that if you're a bottom as a woman, we have that idea that it's like a pillow princess. And, pillow princess, I mean, come on, that's so boring, I mean, it's cutesy sometimes, like you say, but come on, get in it with
Wait,
me,
can I return this? Champagne, really? Really?
For us cunt girls.
Girls. Okay.
All right.
Hashtag can't relate. I can bottom no matter what I eat.
All right. Well, everybody likes clean.
Thank you for
cleanliness. Can we agree on that?
I know people that don't. I do like it clean, but there are many people that want it as dank as
You had to
possible.
go.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, that's-
You had to go there.
yeah, that's the worst part about
I
it.
know. Next subject out. Come on, let's go.
Right.
Wait. Let's sit and think.
No, please. No.
All right.
Let's have a whole fetish
All right.
session next week and answer all the fun topics.
Let's move on to What's on Your Mind. Each week we do this segment where we ask the host of What's on Your Mind, and it allows us to intercede many topics that we might miss in one way or another. Napoleon, let's begin with you. Tell us what's on your mind.
What's been on my mind? Well,
and please, in 30 seconds, tell me what's on your mind.
Okay, I'm going to do the thing where I have to check the clock. We're ready for it.
In
Okay.
6 seconds.
I know. Stop talking, Al. Start Napoleon. So what's been going on my head this last week has honestly been a lot about Justin, and then what kind of person do I want to be?
Justin Flippin, you'll have to explain.
Mayor who died last week and was a good friend. What am I doing on a day-to-day basis to improve myself and be the person that I need to be? It's been my thoughts. It's helped me in my opening day series of things that I go through. I've started my morning journaling again, my morning meditations, my getting set up, and I'm doing that as I go to bed now too. But what I'm doing for structure and how to be a better person, to be the guy that I want to see in the mirror when I sing Show Yourself from Frozen 2, I've been focusing on that and making the plan.
Excellent. Ron, let's turn to you. What's on your mind?
I've been thinking a lot about the Super Tuesday, the importance of you going out and voting. How am I going to convince people to go out and vote and register to vote? The importance of just participating. I don't care what political party you're in. Of course, if you're a Republican, stay with us. But if you're not, it's okay. The important thing is participation. And I've been so busy concentrating on that. I just thinking how don't bitch if you don't vote. Vote, then you have the right to bitch. Okay? So to me, I have just thinking about it, what can I do? I'm actually throwing a cocktail party in my house for those friends of mine which are not registered to vote. They must come in, register to vote.
You know, interesting. I just take a moment to sidebar on what's on your mind. One of the things that we learned yesterday anecdotally at Super Tuesday, we thought there was going to be this huge new wave of young voters. Guess what happened?
There weren't.
They ain't there.
They're not there. I'm just telling you.
And they say that if Bernie doesn't win, that they're not coming again.
Yeah. What's on your mind? Aaron, tell us in 30 seconds what's on your mind.
What's on my mind is visibility and representation. And what I've been thinking about is that if there's only one thing that my participation has done on this show, I hope it is that it's shown our viewers and you all, my friends, that there are many different ways to be trans. There are many different ways to be a man. Trans men come in all different forms. We're not all just butch women or glorified butch women, as you may know, to quote Andrea Gibson about as butch as a Swedish male figure skater. So it's conflated a lot. But hopefully, if nothing else, my very existence lets some people know that you can be whatever kind of man, whatever kind of trans, whatever kind of non-binary, whatever kind of whatever that you feel that you are, and live true to yourself.
And what's on your mind in 30 seconds or less? Power?
Well, what's on my mind is this is out.
Oh, wait. You were twice the length of last week already.
What you mean? Oh.
So, David,
my clock back.
Thank
you. Thank
All
you.
right.
Back to zero.
All right.
So what's on my mind?
I'll watch it.
What's on my mind is a shout out to the Democratic Party. Listen, we are too idealistic as a party. Meanwhile, the Republican Party has no ideals, no morals, and it worked out just fine for them. Look who they voted in as president. So we need to come together. We need to vote blue no matter who, because this election is not just about another 4 years. It is about the impact to our generations for decades.
Okay. And Josie, what's on your mind in 30 seconds?
All right. Well, what's on my mind is also politics. It's the election cycle and how it's brought so many human struggles to the surface. We know about racism. We know about inequality. We know about discrimination. But I think it's time for us to start talking about misogyny in a real huge way. And it's affecting not only one woman's life, it's affecting all of the women's lives. And Elizabeth Warren is another example of the most qualified candidate to be dismissed again. And this is an invitation to all the women out there. Stop knocking each other's crowns off and start lifting each other up.
It's absolutely true. I want to add what's on your mind for me this week. I don't.
You heard the crown, and you want to talk about dressing up, being practical, fitable.
Wait, you're taking my time, dude.
Oh, that's fair then. That sounds like how mine started.
Okay, so I just want to say briefly, the last week has really been a breath of fresh air for me, because regardless of whether you support Trump or not, I understand support. They support Trump. Regardless of who you support in the Democratic Party, I understand. You support X or Y or Z. But we watched Americanism in the last 5 to 7 days. A sea change pendulum shift of fear of one embraced another. And I don't care which side you are. I mean, I do, of course. But one of the things that was a breath of fresh air is you watched America finally, it seems like in a long time, move back to American exceptionalism. And I long for us to move back. If that can be the next 8 months, regardless of which side you're on, great. Great for America. We want to move on to a topic that we have for tonight that is celebrating this coming Sunday, March 8th. It's not only the historic broadcast of the Sunshine Cathedral, the first LGBT live church service broadcast, it's International Women's Day, piggybacking on what you just said. We ask all of the hosts, well, let's celebrate International Women's Day here at It's Happening Out and find out who inspired you. And we ask all of them in advance to tell us. We're going to begin with Napoleon, and before Napoleon comments on it, watch this.
Because it's so amazing, because I've been wanting to do like faith-based stuff or some more uplifting music rather than just, singing about drinking and partying and all that. But it just came to me with this Galantis song, Have a Little Faith in Me. The song's called Faith, and it's really uplifting, but it's a solid dance beat. And so I just love the idea that people are going to be out there dancing, praising God, instead of feeling like they're at least uplifted. They just have a good feeling in their soul and in their heart. And so I think it's great. And yes, I have a song called Dance With Me, Darling. And so I may at some point put that out, because I had a song that I had written years ago that I talked about called Just a Wee Bit Gay.
Oh yeah, I remember
and
that.
It's a dance song, and it's fun, and it's very uplifting and fun too. So who knows? This may be the time I might think about doing a whole dance record.
Well, of course, my name is NapoleonPlays, so I'm going to find one of the most lively, whimsical, fun women that I would want to be around, that I would love to be around, that I would love to work with. And Dolly Parton has had an incredible career. Obviously, she has her own theme park. She works on Broadway. She works in movies. But she's an activist in what she does and in her art. She is just incredible. She's loving. She can use her sexuality as a weapon when she needs to, but still be respected with it. She is everything that I hope to be when I grow up, in as much as how she gives back all of it. I think she's an incredible person.
Interesting. We continue in celebrating International Women's Day, and we go to Power. And let's watch this in terms of Power's inspiration.
Just generic question. What does motherhood mean to you guys?
Motherhood means creating a legacy for your children that they themselves will hope to create one for theirs, and something that is respectable, commendable, and something worth looking up to me.
To me, it means being willing to take responsibility for the next generation and understand that you're shaping what the future will be.
Well, the single biggest influence in my life is my mother. She saved my life, literally. She was an abused wife, and we all lived under domestic violence for 19 years of my life. She could have walked away at any point, but she knew that if she did, that my father would use us as an excuse to stalk her. And so she chose to sacrifice her happiness, her safety, to protect her children. My mother is everything that I'm not. I crave the light, the spotlight, the shine, the attention. She is very, very happy to stay in the background, and she is more powerful in her solitude, in her quietness than I am living out loud. And so she is where I would like to be one day. She's my biggest influence, my mother.
Lovely. And we continue in our International Women's Day celebration of inspiration. And we talk about Ron, and let's watch this.
I think every woman brings changes. We think differently than men, and we focus on different things. So I think that we bring a lot of the table. I brought a lot of changes. I brought the Pride Parade, which, interesting enough, we were so ahead of our time. We've never had a Pride Parade for the gay and lesbian community, and we brought that.
She has been an inspiration in my life for many, many years. I've known Maddie Bauer since she first started her organization in trying to get the Hispanic women, the women at large to be heard in the city of Miami Beach. She is the first Hispanic mayor, female, in Dade County, who's being govern our city in Miami Beach tremendously. I worked with her for many years, and at the end of it all, when we would argue about national politics, she would say, "Ron, you keep fighting for your rights, I'll keep fighting for mine. But at the end of the day, we're fighting for justice for all." And I love that. That's the inspiration we need.
That's wonderful. We continue International Women's Day of Who Inspired Us, and we turn to Erin. Watch this.
Sylvia Rivera's life was a turbulent one, but her unwavering dedication to LGBT and trans rights helped build a much more inclusive world than the one she was born into. Her childhood was tumultuous, being introduced to street prostitution at a young age. Her first-hand knowledge of the dangers of street life would shape her advocacy going forward. She first became politically active by participating in the civil rights and anti-war movements in the 60s with the extremely left-wing Puerto Rican group Young Lords, as well as the Black Panthers. She was a regular patron at the Stonewall Inn and was present in 1969 when gay men, lesbians, bisexuals, drag queens, trans people, and street folk fought back against a police raid in what is now known as the Stonewall Uprising. In 1970, she and fellow Stonewall participant Marsha P. Johnson founded STAR, Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries. She refused to allow drag queens, drag culture, and transvestites to be marginalized to make the queer identity palatable to the heterosexual mainstream.
I love that. The last sentence that she refused to work to make the community palatable for mainstream. And that's the biggest thing about her that has inspired me, is that we don't all have to conform. We don't all have to be just like everybody else in order to be accepted or even tolerated. She refused to let the community forget about the people in the margins, whether that meant incarcerated, homeless, mental illness. She refused to stop fighting for the people who otherwise would be forgotten.
And International Women's Day celebration, who inspired you? We turn to Josie. Watch this.
Tonight, the search intensifying for a champion of the deep. Natalia Molchanova vanished into the depths she'd spent a lifetime exploring. The 53-year-old mother picked up the sport later in life, holding dozens of freediving records, some of them unbelievable, death-defying feats. Many of them chronicled on her website, including for breath hold, 9 minutes, and depth, well over 400 feet. That's more than 2 Statues of Liberty stacked torch to base. But it was a shallow, recreational dive, barely 100 feet, that may have killed her. Sport officials saying she disappeared off the coast of Spain Sunday, where currents were strong. While increasingly popular, freediving is also considered one of the deadliest extreme sports. Divers train to ignore their body's cry for air. Something I was taught in the Cayman Islands. See those convulsions?
Breathe.
That's my body demanding to breathe.
Breathe. Breathe.
Good job, man.
Hey. A good solid 5 minutes on the dot.
The sport has claimed many of its greats, and tonight, Molchanova's family believes the depths she'd conquered may have claimed her.
So Natalia dove to death-defying depths of the sea, challenging her body and pushing herself to limits that most of us would never dare to go. Kind of like another woman who inspires me, Elizabeth Warren, who has stood up and has inspired millions of women and little girls to understand that strength and being female are not different from each other, that there actually can be one and the same. So it's women like these in my life who inspire me.
She inspired me too. I learned a new way to train for breath control.
We continue on International Women's Day on Who Inspires, and it includes me. Watch this.
Tonight, the search.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you? For more than 30 years, the science has been crystal clear. How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you're doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight, and you are still not mature enough to tell it like it is. You are failing us, but the young people are starting to understand your betrayal. We will not let you get away with this. Right here, right now, is where we draw the line. The world is waking up, and change is coming whether you like it or not.
International Women's Day, and who inspires you, includes young women. And that would surprise my choice of many of my friends. I make many jokes about Gen Zers and millennials. It's mostly out of disappointment of their engagement. Greta Thunberg is a rare breath of fresh air because she tells everyone from President Trump at the UN to economic leaders of the world in Switzerland, you are ruining our planet. And at her age, she has the confidence to stand up as a woman, as a young woman, to say, enough is enough. You are not our future. I am. And that makes her inspiring to me on International Women's Day. So that's all of the host panelist selections. Any final thoughts about what happens Sunday in celebrating women?
Well, I will be spending a lot more time on the phone with my mother, who I'm sure I will speak to after this, and I'll get the why were you not doing that since Power chose her mom. Why not you? Why aren't your mom? Are you not inspired?
Now we know where you learned it from.
Mother Jewish?
No, she's not, but she's a pretty good surrogate for it. She responds a lot. The office has weird things to say about it, but she's always having fun watching, spreading love, saying hi. Number one fan.
Other thoughts on what Sunday means?
What was the subject again?
It just a reminder that anything is possible and that all women are not created equal.
I will say something right now. I want to tell you, Josie, that you inspired me.
Oh.
That you are amazing. And all women that are listening or hearing and seeing us, congratulations. Be proud of being a woman. I am proud of having friends like you that fight for the rights of all.
There is great irony that we have an International Women's Day that we celebrate this Sunday, and the people who need to embrace the celebration of women are first and foremost other women. It's really ironic. Josie and I talk about this all the time. Misogyny is inbred in our community. Privileged white guy is completely confident to say, oh my goodness.
Can women be misogynist?
Yeah, I was looking up that word today to see if there was, how we have toxic masculinity. I was wondering if there's a word that applies to women who basically embrace this misogynistic kind of being.
Because I feel that some cis women who attack trans and disrespect trans women are misogynist. They're just as misogynist as men because trans women are women. And when you disrespect them, the way that they don't like to be disrespected by men, it's the same thing. It's misogyny.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like, what do we call it? I asked a girlfriend of mine today, I was like, what is it? What do we call it when we act misogynistic? We're like catty. Maybe it's like we're hunting.
Well, the election cycle that we've watched over the last year proves where America still is, unfortunately. 2016 should have brought this to an end, and it did not.
Sure.
There are great, beyond Elizabeth Warren, Amy Klobuchar, Kamala's. There are many powerful women in America that would be great presidents of the United States. I would assume that in the Republican Party also. I'm telling you, going forward, we need a more feminine hand and touch in America. We would all be better off. So we celebrate, in that vein, International Women's Day this Sunday. We move next into Saved by the Bell, and this is kind of a lightning round of things that happen. We're going to talk about a number of different topics in the news this week and other headlines. We're going to give 60 to 90 seconds on each topic, and when we get to the end, you're going to hear this, And that means everyone must come to a complete, instantaneous stop. They know where they are in time, by the way, and always have, America. They always know
They can
where
still
they
say things
are.
about you. It's okay.
Okay, let's play Saved by the Bell. Saved by the Bell, topic number 1. Texas yesterday had a rainbow wave of candidates that won election seats.
Yeah, they had 4 people in the House that have taken seats, and they had 5 incumbents that held their seats. It's also possible to double the LGBTQ representation in Congress in Texas coming up soon.
Were all those seats Democrat?
Looks like it.
Those 4 were.
Those
Yes,
four
those
were.
4 were taken over.
But were there more than just the 4?
Yes, there were. A number of Republican seats were lost.
Yeah.
Did any Republicans won? Do we know?
I don't have that detail. I don't know.
But fun fact
so
about
much for the diversity.
Well, fun fact about this is that Texas has
Someone was
put
talking
forward
about.
some of the most anti-homophobic and anti-trans legislation, and they have the highest number of bills that they try to put through.
The log cabin Republicans at the Texas State Convention are called disgusting. Ron was very clear of his rejection of that.
Yeah.
One interesting thing of what we watched in Texas yesterday, there's 4 major states: California, Texas, Florida, New York. New York and California are traditionally blue and overwhelmingly blue. Texas and Florida have traditionally, over the past 18 years, been red states, traditionally red states. Florida is now purple, and Texas has become purple. Texas is so close to flipping out of purple to blue, it is razor thin. That's what yesterday reflects.
Well, and what it also reflects is that it's important to vote not just in the general election for president, but in local elections and in elections for congressional representatives. These are the people who are going to change things and pass laws or not that affect you.
Down ballot is absolutely real. Saved by the Bell number 2. A lesbian in South Africa was raped by 3 men to, quote unquote, by the rapist, correct her sexuality.
Did it work?
Yes, her sexuality was correct afterwards. She was still gay.
Yeah.
That's what this is about. Corrective rape is a thing. This is one example of it. I didn't even hear that phrase before. These 3, I think all of them were underage. One of them was 14. Kids raped this woman, and they say to help her, but essentially just to do something to get their
You know what's so
values up.
offensive about this story is if it was a man with his wife or a man with a girlfriend or a man on a date and said, you're really going to like this and have sex, what's the difference here? We would be up in arms. In this instance, I don't think that there's enough reaction of corrective sexual activity trying to change your perspective of your sexuality.
Well, I wonder if it works. I wonder if it works for gay men that would like to see straight men turn gay. I mean, I guess if we went around raping straight men, it should work the same way, right?
Listen, and at the end of the day, okay, anyone who thinks that it's okay to inflict bodily harm on another human being is already, I don't care, man, woman, whatever. But corrective, like, first off, everyone, that's, again, it's another extension of misogynistic, thought process, is that a man believing that they are more powerful and a woman is less than a man, period, end of story. And if you think that you can fuck her straight, trust me, that's not going to work. And maybe we just need more women to wake up to the idea that when men hurt us, maybe it's just time to go back to the Bobbitt days. Yeah. Don't sleep around me.
I'm still, production, I need some oxygen because I'm thinking about Power's observation of corrective rape for straight men.
Mm-hmm. Followed up by bite his dick off.
You know what, though?
We're ready to go.
As much as it's not funny, it's a damn good point, because it's exactly the reason that we're not doing enough about it, because it's not happening to men, because it's happening to women.
No, that's Josie's point. Saved by the Bell, and by the way, we were in overtime. Saved by the Bell number 3.
Like I follow a rule.
Supreme Court hears today productive rights cases that are going to absolutely influence women in America. Thoughts?
Here we go. Here we go again. Okay. Now the Supreme Court wants to tell women what we can choose to do with our own bodies. I'm going to let all the men who are watching tonight know something. If you guys don't stand with women to protect us from being basically told what to do with our body, the moment that becomes precedent, they will come after you too. Don't think that it's just about us right now. We are just the less than species on the planet, okay? We are the minority majority, and we're the ones who are being attacked because it's easier to come and get us. But let me just tell you, we're not, number one. And number two, men have to come and stand behind us, period. You guys have to understand that the moment that they pass the first law that gives the government the right to govern our bodies, they will not just govern my body, they'll govern your body too.
And when you have a Supreme Court that leans conservative, these things do not bode well. And I keep telling people this. These things, as far as our social progression and our civil rights, they do not bode well for us when you have a conservative-leaning court. And this is why elections have consequences.
Minority protection is paramount in a society. You return to Maya Angelou, whether it's the T in LGBT, whether it's gay in the broad community, whether it's women who are a majority, whether it's women who do not stand up for themselves in the community, for a Hillary or a Kamala or whatever the Republican woman would be, whoever, women do not stand up for themselves to race, to religious minority, to Jewish. Throughout our entire history, we have seen this over and over again. You must stand up for minority. Sorry, I went over time. Saved by the Bell, number 4, coronavirus. It hits the LGBT community and all of America. Coronavirus.
Have you guys started to see things change in how people behave in terms of just hugs?
Fist bump.
I mean,
actually, I did. I actually went to Temple this morning to attend a funeral, and the Jewish community, we tend to always hug and kiss, and this time, even the rabbi said, look, stay away from each other, try not to touch, because of the virus.
Didn't I find it?
And I found it, yes, this was in Miami. I found it so offensive. Because to me, it was a flashback to the time where they would say, oh my God, how could you touch somebody who's with AIDS or who is HIV? Oh, you're going to get it, without having the knowledge. So please, I understand to take precautions, but don't go overboard. In the gay community and in every community, learn about the disease, learn about the effects, learn how to stay safe, and don't stop hugging or kissing.
I don't agree with that, because, and I would agree with it if there was knowledge to be had and then you were ignorant. But when you're still learning about a new disease and you don't know, then that is a natural reaction. The natural reaction is you want to be safe than sorry. And so, if you don't know, then you have to take precautions. I think that it's going to affect our gay community when it comes to parties, circuit events. Ultra is already being canceled.
Yeah,
bathhouses.
Yeah. Ultra America is one of the largest dance events in America, held in Miami, and it has been canceled.
Well, and to that angle, coronavirus and HIV, let's hope that Mike Pence doesn't mishandle coronavirus the way he grossly mishandled HIV in his own state.
That's right.
I'm sorry, got to go on. I apologize. Saved by the Bell, number 5. Yesterday, Virginia became the first southern state to ban conversion therapy.
Yay.
What in the hell is going on in Virginia?
It's changed. It's changed.
It's the North, apparently, now.
The part of a lot of new blood has gone into Virginia, and the old tradition of Virginia is either moving south to the southern parts of the state. It's a different world. Listen, things begin to change. Do they go for the better or the worse? That's to the point of view that you may have. I think that Virginia, I applaud that they did ban, because I believe you shouldn't force anybody. This type of therapy is totally unacceptable. Now, I do know that a lot of my Republicans say, Ron, that's not going towards, you're going against the party. Well, I'm not going against the party. There is no platform in the party that says you have to support this. There are ideas from certain leaders that you have got to support this. This is unacceptable. But see, my fight isn't with the LGBT community. My fight is within the Republican Party saying, how dare you? How dare you tell me that this therapy works? It hasn't worked. It will not work. And it is totally inhumane.
I'm
to have
curious,
this type of therapy.
and did anyone have curiosity when you're listening to this, and we've heard Ron, is there a platform ability for the Republican Party to throw Republicans out of the party? Is that possible?
Actually, there is, and that was with Romney, and they didn't do it, so I guess they won't get rid of me.
Okay.
They will not get
Few
rid
more
of me.
seconds.
I'm
Few
here
more
to
seconds.
stay.
Are you proposing that's a Republican conversion therapy? Yeah, we can get you into therapy. We'll get you fixed. Don't worry.
Okay, we'll get you fixed. There's my soundbite. All right. Let's move out of Saved by the Bell and move to our game called Shag, Marry, Chop. America, you know that we play this game each week, and we try to find out, showing different kinds of personalities and people and men and women and inanimate objects.
Body parts.
Shag, Marry, Chop.
Movement.
This week, we're playing Shag, Marry, Chop with all gender fluid, non-binary performers. And we're going to show you that now. We begin with Dorian Electra, and that's Dorian. And then we move to Arca. And then we move to Lawrence Rothman. Lawrence comes up. All right, so let's play Shag, Marry, Chop. Who wants to jump right in?
I'll jump right in. I always like new opportunities. Alrighty, so I am going to shag Dorian because, one, I'm reminded of TLC and the 90s just immediately. So it's kind of like jumping back in time with that fuck. So I would enjoy doing that. So I would shag Dorian. I would marry Lawrence because I think that the music must be very intense and either gritty. I could get some Adele out of them. I could do something to them, and maybe they'd write a great song, and I'd be like the Adele song.
Okay.
And then I would chop Arca because he looks like everyone I've already slept with anyway. They look like.
Oh my goodness! All right. Please, Jared Curry, please mark that. We're going to need that later. Who else? Who wants to play
follow
Shag?
behind you
All
because
right.
you know these days we spend a lot of time together and it seems to be rubbing off. But I'm gonna shag Dorian too. You know, there's that little club kid thing going on, a little bit of anime. I mean, it would be definitely very, very fun. I would totally marry Lawrence for different reasons because personally I feel there's a gothic element to them and I'm really enjoying that deep and I like to go deep, so that's would be perfect.
Really?
I know.
Really?
I know I'm interrupting you, but Jared, our editor, when he and I first saw number 3 with Lawrence, we both said, "Is that Jimmy Fallon?" Like we looked 3 times.
Thank you. I did not want to be
like, we just said, "Is this one of his characters?"
I did not want to be the first one.
And then I'm totally chopping Arca.
Because they look like all the people you slept with, too.
No, not exactly. It's like all the people I would never sleep with. So there you go.
Exactly. Ron, who would you shag?
I would go ahead and shag with Dorian. There's something sexy, interesting.
Okay.
I would definitely marry Arca, and I would chop
Lawrence. And Power, who are you shagging?
Very easy for me. I would shag Arca because he actually, they actually look like the type of people I would sleep with. You know, in terms of his body. Well, the only one of the 3. I would marry Dorian Electra because we could share outfits. And I don't have to actually have sex with him. Just because them. Right? And
separate bedroom.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's funny because you
separate wings of the house.
Isn't that how marriage works?
Right.
Yes. And then Lawrence Rothman. They look quite boring to me, so they would get the chop.
All right, we're going to end Shag, Marry, Chop tonight with Aaron.
So
first off, just broadly, before you even name a name, how do collectively they wash over you?
I mean, like people, I guess, like very shocking.
I think what Al is asking you, these are your brothers and sisters, correct? This is your family.
These are my
now.
people, as the trans expert, the trans right, non-binary expert.
That's the bucket you serve.
Of course.
Text them all. Say hello.
I'm gonna say I would shag Lawrence because there's something deep going on there, intense.
Angry.
Someone's in emotional pain.
Probably.
And Aaron
angry,
says, "I want that."
Like when you're that mellow, there's some
There's
real closet
real-
shit going on. So I'm going to marry Dorian for similar reasons as Power. I mean, I think we could, put on a hell of a production. and perform on stage together too, maybe.
You two are marrying people for costuming?
Really? I mean, none of them are really
the prenup, so I guess that's all fine.
Okay.
None of them are really my type.
Right.
I mean, if we're settling, then we may as well.
All right.
And then I'm going to chop Arca because he looks like a little too much for me, and I need to be the extra one in the room.
I was thinking when you made the comments that you were when we were talking about the story in Puerto Rico, and my observations. I have, in my opinion, the show's been great for me because I've had an evolution of change on many, many subjects. I do feel that I'm learning and I'm embracing. I want to be more educated.
This whole thing is the front for group therapy.
Exactly right. That's why I'm here. Group therapy. It's cheaper. Is it wrong of me to look at all three of them and go, nah, not so much?
No.
That's what we all did.
Yeah.
Right. Look, listen. Don't. Okay. It's not transphobic to not be attracted to a trans person.
Yeah.
Like I know that's a controversy apparently, but I know, right? Part of my trans community is gonna have a problem with it for this.
Treat people like they're people, and you don't like. And
right.
You don't want to
you're not. Consent
people,
is still a thing. I don't care
me.
what gender you are.
Yeah.
Not into it.
I have to tell you something. Saturday night, I was at Georgie's Alibi on Wilton Drive. And I was with two very close friends of mine, an artist, a famous artist, and a famous writer. He's been on the show, in fact. And we met a mutual friend of ours, and he brought a friend of his that is male, but just beginning the transition in just the beginning of hormone. And they all told me, I went to the beach with him on Sunday, they said, you were enamored by him. And I said, really? And all of them collectively said, if you could have just left at that moment, you would have because you were enamored. And I thought, wow, maybe good for me because that wasn't my reaction. But it was a person in transition, and they were totally fascinating.
Right. I mean, there's different kinds of people.
Fascinating, like an animal at a zoo, or
fascinating as he was really cute, and in transition, I was imagining what he would be like in his post-transition, etc. And none of that brought me to a stop. And I thought, wait, this is kind of interesting because I had never had that experience before, so it was a new experience. Anyway,
congratulations.
Yeah. Do I get a cookie? I get a cookie, right?
It'll be gluten-free.
Okay, I got to move on. Got to move on.
It sounds like.
Okay. We are moving on to Jets Pizza. We're at the end of the show. And we just want to tell you that our sponsor is Jets, and we are getting ready to have some pizza. And now we're going to do a good night from our guest. And let's start with Aaron. You've been a big topic of conversation tonight.
I have. Oh, well, thank you. I always love that. All bad things, I hope. Well, good night, genderfuckers. And all of those who support us, even if you're just kind of starting to figure it out or trying to understand. I'm looking at all of you there, except Josie. Josie gets it.
Here's my cookie.
I spit on it.
Thank you.
We're having conversations. Let's all meet each other where we are. Be a little bit lenient on both sides of the conversation, and we'll get somewhere.
Yeah. And Ron?
Well, I want you to know that I lost a bet.
And good night.
And I did pay. We'll pay up. But I'll tell you something. It doesn't matter if we bet or don't. The important thing is we're having a conversation. We'll fight, we'll scream, but at the end of the day, we're having a conversation. America, let's talk. Let's talk to each other. If they tell you queer, faggot, whatever, you know what? Smile and say, I'm better than you. And we are better. Please, come talk to each other. America, do not divide our community. Let's all talk about it. And you know something? If I offended anybody tonight because I stood up as a gay man towards the trans community, please go find out their suffering. Be part of it. Stand up, scream for their rights. We cannot allow one more murder.
Ron,
America.
I should let you know, we have a text I'm getting ready to reply to. Marco Rubio has said, please tell Ron to shut up.
And wouldn't do that. He was actually my wedding.
No, he's right. Exactly. That was my joke. He's friends with Marco Rubio. And Power?
Well, good night, children. Thanks once again for tuning in. Remember, IHO is not about us sitting around the table. It's about all of you, everybody out there in the rainbow community. So continue to tune in, and we're just going to continue to do what we do. And remember, champagne douche.
I'm gonna dream about that tonight. And Napoleon.
Well, we get to play a lot of games here. We get to laugh a lot sometimes, thanks to Power Infiniti. Thank you for being there for that. And that means that we get to gamify a lot of experiences. We get to engage in learning and teaching and sharing in ways that are fun. And we get to do that here. We get to do that in life. So I remind you guys to play every day, every way, and tune in to us every Wednesday at 8 p.m.
And America, we kind of tribute Elizabeth Warren's likely exit from the presidential campaign.
Per your opinion.
Everything's my opinion, okay? And we don't have to ever do that again, because everything that we say is our opinion. It is also likely the exit of the final woman in the campaign. And I can agree with and hear the only biological woman sitting at the table, her voice of misogyny, and I expect more from our community and from America. So tonight, our final goodnight comes from Chef Josie because we've heard her loud and clear. You are heard loud and clear. And America is cheering you loud and clear for what you say. It's International Women's Week on Sunday, or Women's Day. And so we give you the final goodnight tonight.
Well, good night. Tonight's good night is not going to be to all the women out there. It's actually going to be to our friend, the mayor of Wilton Manors, who just passed this week. Justin Flippin, good night. We're going to, as a community, celebrate your life tomorrow. And to all of Wilton Manors, thank you. And for the rest of you watching this evening, I just want to say thank you for watching and making this table possible. Good night.
Very nice. America, we constantly try to explore if gay culture exists. We don't know in 2020. Does it? We are trying to find the semblance of the walls of the gay community. We don't know. Does it? So remember, we think at this table it is. It exists. And if it's important to you, remember, it's important and it's happening out. So we tell you, good night, America.